Hello, everyone. Welcome to Spoken Word Sunday with Granddaddy G. This is episode 62, My Hispanic Heritage. This week is the last week of National Hispanic Heritage Month. National Hispanic Heritage Month is the period from September 15th to October 15th in the United States, when people recognize the contributions of Hispanic and Latino Americans to the country's history, heritage, and culture. September 15th was chosen as the starting point for the commemoration because it is the anniversary of 5 Latin American countries declaring independence: Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and Nicaragua, who all declared independence in 1821. Mexico's independence is celebrated on September 16th. Many people are confused about the difference between Hispanic and Latino. Hispanic and Latino are often used interchangeably, though they actually mean two different things. Hispanic refers to people who speak Spanish and/or are descended from Spanish-speaking populations, while Latino refers to people who are from or descended from Latin America. In short, Hispanic focuses on Spanish-speaking origin, which means Spain is included, but Brazil is not because Brazilians speak Portuguese. Latino specifically refers to people of Latin American origin. When filling out forms, there is rarely a box to check for both. Many times I must take a minute to decide if I should check Caucasian or Hispanic. Since my grandfather was German, I sometimes will check mixed race. Mixed or mestizo is probably a more accurate description because there are many indigenous native people in Latin America and North America that married the Spaniards since they did not bring any women with them from Spain. My mother's maiden name was Luna, and she is descended from a man named Diego de Luna, who was a soldier in the army of Hernan Cortez. This year, 2019, is the 500th anniversary of Cortez landing in what is now Mexico in 1519. My mother's ancestors settled in what is today northern New Mexico. In 1563, New Mexico was named Nuevo Mexico after the Aztec Valley of Mexico. It was named by Spanish settlers more than 250 years before the establishment and naming of the present-day country. Thus, the present-day state of New Mexico was not named after the country today known as Mexico. The territory of New Mexico was an organized, incorporated territory of the United States that existed from September 9, 1850 until January 6, 1912, when the remaining extent of the territory was admitted to the Union as the state of New Mexico. So we were citizens of Spain, then citizens of Mexico, then citizens of the US. I know it's very confusing, but here is the story of my Hispanic heritage. My forefather Diego de Luna arrived in 1519 on the shores of the most beautiful land he had ever seen. From Spain to Cuba to the port of Veracruz, he was just a poor soldier with only his life to lose. With the governor of New Spain, Hernan Cortez, he came, one of 400 men seeking fortune and fame. Back in Spain, before beginning his journey, Hernan Cortez was not a soldier, he was an attorney. Some of the soldiers wished to return, but right after they landed, Cortez burned all the ships. So now Diego was stranded. "Don't worry," Cortez said. "We will all be rich." Diego must have thought, should we really trust this son of a bitch? But soldiers followed orders then, just like they do now. So I guess he made the best of it somehow. The king of the Aztec Empire, where they arrived, decided it would be a good idea to keep these men alive. Thousands of pounds of gold at Cortez's feet they would lay, hoping that that would be enough for them to just go away. Montezuma was the king who was told of a prophecy that these men should be treated with generosity. They could be gods returning to earth. If they were not treated well, the land could be cursed. Cortez told the king, "We have a disease of the heart that only gold can cure." Montezuma said, "No problem. We can help you, I'm sure." To honor the god of the sun, the celebration would start. They would worship their god by cutting out men's hearts. Diego thought, "This is very odd. Our God gave his blood for us. They give their blood to God." Cortez wondered, whose hearts were these? He found the native people whose land the Aztecs seized. Just like today, no amount of gold was ever enough. Cortez thought, we must have it all, but it's going to be tough. He heard that the people to whom those hearts belong had thousands of warriors, all brave and strong, and they hated the Aztecs who ravaged their land. If we can make allies of those people, we can make a stand. Since he was a lawyer, he knew how to make words rain. He convinced the native people to join his campaign. The Aztec city was surrounded on all sides by a lake. He cut off every escape route that the Aztecs could take. With cannons, swords, and sticks that shoot fire, the piles of dead bodies grew higher and higher. The battle was the most brutal that the world had ever seen. The water turned as red as the jungle was green. This was the end of the God of the Sun. Now the Son of God was taught to everyone. The Spanish language replaced the native speech. Cortez now knew great wealth was within his reach. But European diseases like smallpox would rapidly spread. Most of the native people who helped Cortez were now dead. As the years went by, those soldiers who survived traveled in all directions trying to stay alive. My ancestor Diego helped establish a new encampment. They made allies of the native people in the land of enchantment. It was the home of the Pueblo nation. Like Cortez, they convinced them that they could offer salvation. This time, it was the Apache they would fight. Once again, in the name of God, they said that killing was right. For hundreds of years, New Spain was the name of the place that was founded on blood, tears, and pain. In 1821, Mexico reclaimed her land. Then in 1848, the United States made a stand. The area is now called New Mexico. Some of my family still live there, descended from Diego. Over 30 generations have passed. He wasn't the first, and I won't be the last. Our blood is mixed with many native tribes, but Hispanic is how our people are described. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Thank you very much. I hope that this video answered some questions and brought you some information. I really appreciate you liking, subscribing, and sharing. Have a great week. I'll see you next Sunday on Spoken Word Sunday with Granddaddy G. Adios.